So, before I could even do my next video predicting who the next Spurs manager is going to be, Tottenham Hotspur have already announced the man till the end of the season, and his name is Igor Tudor. Now, let me read the statement from the club here. We are pleased to confirm the appointment of Igor Tudor as the men's head coach until the end of the season, subject to work permit. Igor joins us with a clear focus to improve performances, deliver results, and move us up the Premier League table. His mandate is straightforward: bring organisation, intensity, and a competitive edge to the squad at a decisive stage of the campaign. Speaking about the arrival, Igor said, "It is an honour to join a club at an important moment. I understand the responsibility I have been handed, and my focus is clear: to bring greater consistency to our performances and compete with conviction in every match. There is a strong quality in this playing squad, and my job is to organise it, energise it, and improve our results quickly." Who is Igor Tudor? I'm sure a lot of Spurs fans have been asking themselves for the last 24 hours, and I've done us the favour of speaking to two fans, DSK, a Marseille fan, and JFTV Luca, a super Juve fan as well, to give us some perspective on what his time at those two clubs was like. Those were the last two clubs he managed, and maybe they can give us a little bit of an insight and perspective as to what we can expect. Let's dive straight into that convo. Talk to me a little bit about what you remember of his time there. Obviously, it was only last year. What was the atmosphere like at the club before he arrived, and what kind of situation was he walking into? And then also, what was the reaction of the fans like when he came? Because I can't imagine he would have been a name that would have been top of the list when people were talking about the next Juventus manager.
Yeah, so I think actually there are quite a lot of similarities between us and you in that moment in time between when we sacked Thiago Motta and when you guys have sacked Thomas Frank to when us and you both appointed Igor Tudor, in the sense that there was a lot of, let's say, frustration within the fan base on how the results were going up until that point. With us, for example, we were drawing a lot of games with Motta, and the two games before he got sacked was a 4-0 loss to Atalanta at home, our worst loss, our biggest loss since the 1950s or 60s, I believe. So that was a horrible game. And then a 3-0 loss away against Fiorentina. And Motta just completely lost the dressing room. Like, the players weren't playing for him. He made very poor, in my opinion, tactical decisions, personnel decisions. The way players like Danilo left the club, things like that were down to Motta, as well as the board, but mostly Motta. And the fans were it was just a toxic environment, which is the same for Tottenham right now. The only difference is obviously the positioning in the league table. We were outside of the Champions League, and we needed to qualify for the UCL with all the money we spent in the summer and the expectations. We can't not make it in the top four. And we were 5th or 6th, I believe, at the time, a few points off top four. But with the way it was going with Motta, it looked like we were not going to qualify for the Champions League. But obviously with you guys, it was with Frank, you were damn near relegation, which is a lot worse as well. And 100%. Like, horrific for a club like Tottenham. You should not be in this sort of situation with the players you have whatsoever. It's literally worse form than last year in the Premier League. And I didn't think it could get much worse for Tottenham. So in that situation, it's pretty much similar in the sense that both our fan base and your fan base is quite toxic at the time. And I think Igor Tudor did really well to come and steady the ship. And I don't think we would have got Champions League football without him. So I think he's a great manager in the sense that he can come in and steady a ship like he's done in the past for Verona, for all these teams, Marseille, I believe, as well. And I think Tottenham that's what you need right now. You need a man who, A, wears his heart on his sleeve, is very honest, bridges the gap between the fans and the players really well, is a great manager, in my opinion, and he can really get the best out of a lot of players. And I think that's what Tottenham need right now. You don't really need a tactician. You need someone that will be able to fight and be able to get the best out of these players and get the fans up for the game and get the fans really on his side and on the team side to believe.
When you, as a Marseille fan, you guys are a historic club. You hear this kind of unknown manager coming in. Are you guys excited? Are you guys nervous? Are you guys thinking, what's going on?
At first, we're like, what the heck happened? And who is this guy? And why is he coming here? But we trust our president so much, right? That he always pull these players or these people, or like, he actually sometimes work. So we look at it, we're like, all right, let's give it a chance. At least he's coming during pre-season. So he's going to have time to do whatever he wants to do, right? Igor Tudor is all about intensity, discipline, intensity. And we're like, who's this guy trying to change everything? We finished 2nd before you came. And you come here, you're trying to impose your style of play. Stop the players that were succeeding last year. And we see in president, we get paper, it's not working. You need to listen to us, right? Then first game of the season comes. That's the first thing I see in my life like this. The whole stadium, I mean, a part of the stadium.
Yeah.
New coach, Igor Tudor. Boo!
Wow.
First game of the season. I was baffled. I was like, wow. Because everybody was like, damn, we built something so high last year. And now we're here with this guy trying to bring us back to zero. What is he doing? Right? First game of the season, we cooked them. I don't know if it was Reims who it was. We cooked them 4-1. And the games keep going. Every time we play, we cook and we beat them. I think we go 300 bounds or something like that. We start in like being top of the league and we play a football that's just amazing.
You touched on his style of play there. Talk to me about his style of play, because I think that's one of the things. The reaction I'm seeing from Spurs fans so far at the moment, a lot of fans are kind of concerned that he might be Frank 2.0. But talk to me about his style of play. Is it attacking football? Is it pragmatic? Because I know he loves a back three.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Igor Tudor came and he did this back three. Him is 3-4-2-1. 3-4-2-1. All right. So he comes with that system. And at first, like you said, during preseason, it's not working. But first game, three games on the bounce, he humbled us. He humbled all the fans because it was working. Why? Because we were a unit. We were all playing together and we were listening to Igor Tudor. It was sliding to defense every time, sliding to attack, like going back for 3-4 and then whatever with the wing backs and everything. It was amazing. That season was crazy because in that season we beat Lyon, we beat Monaco at the last minute, we beat PSG in the French Cup. We just go crazy, right? We started to be feared again. We started to be Marseille again. We started to be a club with standard, a club with a mindset and a goal towards greatness.
What would you say his playing style is like? Is it something attacking? Is it more pragmatic? Because I know he pretty much plays a back three. He's kind of from the school of thought of Gasperini and Conte, if you like. But I always feel like there's different ways to play that back three. You can play it really offensively. You can play it really defensively. What was that like at Juve?
I think he's more of a pragmatic coach compared to someone like Spalletti, who is now the Juventus coach. Like, I think they have very different ideologies. Spalletti is sort of a manager where he's ruthless in the sense that we go 1-0 up. No, we need a second, then we need a third, then we need a fourth. And he's very on the front foot, whereas I think Tudor's a little bit more cautious. But I think he sort of has a mix between like Allegri's style of football and Gasperini's, in the sense that he has those defensive traits like Allegri has, but not to the same extent. Whereas Allegri's like, we go 1-0 up, we close up sharp, we ain't leaking any chances. Gasperini's a man manager who likes to play three at the back, as we've seen on numerous occasions, but he's quite offensive minded. I think he's sort of in between those two coaches.
Right.
Because I definitely think that we were more positive when Tudor took over. We were creating more chances. We were really getting the best out of players like Kenan Yildiz, who is a fantastic footballer. We all know it, right? But towards the end of the spell with Motta, he was sort of like in and out of the team. He wasn't firing at the same rate he was with Tudor after, and now obviously with Spalletti. But Kenan, Kolo Muani, who obviously is at Tottenham now, who I think is going to have a really good relationship with Tudor, which is a very good positive sign for you guys. He was incredible for us, and he was vital in us getting Champions League qualification. Kolo Muani came up clutch with huge goals, man. Away at Lazio, Venezia, Como, I believe he scored a brace. Like, he came in really clutch for us. Conceição was playing well under Tudor as well.
I was going to say, just quickly on that Kolo Muani point, what do you think he actually did to get a tune out of him? Because obviously he'd had kind of like a rough period at PSG, where it wasn't really working out. But he'd come to Juve, and in 6 months, bro, it felt like it was the Kolo Muani that was at Frankfurt all over again. And that is, for me, a difficult job to do. It's similar like Endrick's gone to Lyon and he's just straight away picked up kind of where he left off before he went to Madrid. But what do you think Igor Tudor did exactly, whether it's tactically or maybe just kind of put his arm around him? What was that thing? Because I genuinely feel like that is exactly what Kolo Muani needs right now.
Yeah, I think so, man. I think, as I said earlier, he's a great man manager, Tudor. So he really gives the players the belief that they can achieve the club's goals and they can succeed in their own realm also. And I think really what he did, like you said, is he put his arm around Kolo Muani. He gave him the faith. He was playing him consistently, even if he was playing poorly in the other game. He knew that he would still be in the starting 11 the game after. and Vlahovic had some injury problems. So Colomwani was like the main man sort of going into it. And it also helped that the fans we loved Colomwani. He scored on his debut and it almost felt like a love story. Well, with Juventus and French players in general, it typically is, but it just was a recipe for success. And I know Colomwani's not a fan favourite by a lot of Tottenham fans at the minute. I think there's a lot of Spurs fans that have been critical of him. And when I have seen Colomwani play for Tottenham on a handful of occasions, not as many times as you, I think he's looked okay. But of course, you've seen a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think Tudor is the perfect manager to be able to get the best out of Colomwani because, A, they have that previous relationship where they worked really well together. And Tudor wanted to keep Colomwani. We wanted to sign Colomwani in the summer. It was only because PSG really wanted this ridiculous price that we couldn't afford at the time. Or there was problems between PSG and Juventus. It wasn't to do with the player.
What would you say during that kind of season that you had him? What was his communication style like? How did he command the dressing room? How did he talk in press conferences? Because one of the things I think over the last year, Spurs fans have realized is like how important that is in terms of how Ange dealt with the media and how every time, even when results were going bad, Ange would have one press conference and I think every Spurs fan would be like, okay, I'm behind him again. Whereas Thomas Frank, every time he spoke, it was like, ugh.
You're like scary time, yeah?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like you get the ick a little bit. But what was Igor Tudor like? Because French isn't even his first language as well.
Yep.
So coming into a foreign environment, was that tough for him to adapt to, or did you get behind?
He was speaking to the players and the press mostly in English, right? Mostly in English. And wow, to be quite honest, this is a man, I want to call him stubborn. All right. Me, I can call him stubborn in a good way because I'm Marseille. Juve, I don't know if they can say the same thing. Luca will have to tell you, you know what I mean? But honestly, the guy press conference, confident in what he's doing, confident in what he's offering, backing the players, never bashing any players. And he's saying every time, every game, he's making sure that all the time the system is what is going to work. And I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to prove y'all. He was a leader. You see the training videos. He was talking to the players. We're all together. At the end of the day, it's victory or loss. But we're here for the victory. This is all that matters. Blah, 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 blah. Very, very like man manager. But at the same time, he ain't going to sacrifice the whole squad for one man, right? So it's either we're all together or you're out. I'm happy that you guys got Igor Tudor. That Spurs got Igor Tudor. Because if the players adopt his mentality, if they adopt his mindset, his hunger for those, how many months remaining? 3 months remaining?
Yeah.
For the 3 months remaining, you guys can fly.
Igor Tudor is a coach that has managed in Italy, he's managed in France, but he's also played at a top level in Italy. So he has that Italian manager style to him, despite him not being Italian. If that makes sense. He's got like that Conte passion, and he's very loud, he's very vocal, he's very honest, okay? And I think these are great traits, especially for a team that is trying to, well, in your case, survive and stay in the division, or trying to get top 4, or trying to achieve a certain objective, right? And I think I like Tudor a lot, man. I really think he had a great relationship with the players. He really gave them the faith and the belief, and he got us over the line in the end, getting us Champions League football. He really bridged the gap, as I said earlier, between the fans and the team in a toxic and very particular situation. But even as a person, man, he's a lovely guy. I remember when I met him in America a couple of times, like it was the night before the Real Madrid game. He was about to go on like the walk with the rest of the coaching staff. And I asked him to just sign my shirt, and he stood there for a good 5 minutes just talking about his time at Juventus and how he's found it. So he really knows what it means to be at, well, he knew what it meant to be at Juventus, but he knows what it means to be at a top club, which he's coached Marseille, he's coached Lazio, he's coached Juventus. These are big clubs as well. So I think he's dealt with pressure before as a player and as a coach, which is important. And I really think you guys as Tottenham fans will take to him. And I think you'll really start to like him. And I really think he'll make it a less toxic environment. And there's no doubt in my mind he'll keep you up for sure.
Hey, this is music to my ears, because honestly, I think that is definitely what this dressing room needs in terms of someone who can come in and lead it, someone who can guide them, someone who can be a strong voice in that dressing room. Because I've said the likes of Harry Kane, Son, all the experienced guys who are in that dressing room are either crocked for 12 months and in a medical room, or they've left the club in the last 2 or 3 years. And you're looking at now, it's essentially a lot of kids in that dressing room. Archie
Yeah.
Gray, Bergval, Pape Sarr, Tell, Odegaard, Xavi Simmons. They're all under 24. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like a strong character is actually what they need. Really hope you guys appreciate the insight from those boys. If you want to go and see more of them, go and check out. The links are in the description. Go Front Free, JFTV Luca on YouTube as well. Great insight from those boys. Really appreciate them. But in summary, what I have gathered from what they have told me, this is a man who has basically achieved his targets everywhere he's gone, whether that be keeping Verona up in Syria, whether that's getting Lazio Champions League, Marseille Champions League, Juventus Champions League. Everywhere he seems to go in the short term, he seems to be able to put out fires. A great firefighter manager at the moment is the feeling that I'm getting. Then you talk about his character, and it seems like a strong character, someone who believes in what he's trying to build. And then when you talk about his playing style, it's not the most thrilling. It's not the most exciting. Some would even say pragmatic, playing with a back three system, coaching in Serie A. These are the kind of things you expect. However, I feel like at Tottenham, listen, this season under Thomas Frank, it's been ugly and nasty football. But at this point right now, we're just trying to get results. We're just trying to get to 40 points. We're just trying to establish ourselves again and find a solid foundation. And if you can come in and bring that and help individuals improve as well. I love the fact that he's worked with Kolo Muani previously, and, you know, he can maybe start to get a tune out of him, because we haven't seen the Kolo Muani that Juventus fans saw. So I'm hoping a lot of these players who we feel like have been underwhelming and underperforming, as those guys have said, the likes of Locatelli, the likes of Yildiz, the likes of Thuram, he put his arm around those guys and really got them performing back to their levels. That's what I want to see when I look at some of these Spurs players. And look, he may not be someone who's a long-term solution. I'm not even looking at next season. But from now, the next 2 months, can you just give me a solid foundation? Can you just give me a club that I can actually be proud to support? That I can actually go to the gym, wear my Spurs shirt and not feel embarrassed? That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for Champions League football. I'm not asking for silverware. I'm not asking for thrilling and exhilarating football. I just want a steady ship. That's it. And I don't think that is asking for too much. Now, of course, we can't ignore the fact that his first game is going to be the North London derby. If there was ever a baptism of fire, this is it. But Sir Igor Tudor, I raise you a challenge. If there is ever a way to introduce yourself to a new team, to a new city, to a new country, to a new league, the North London derby presents you the golden opportunity, my friend, to announce yourself to the world. You will not only be doing a service to the Tottenham fans, you will be doing a service to the entire Premier League. Understand the magnitude of this game. And look, we can acknowledge we have 10, we have 11, we have 12, we have 13 players out injured. But the last couple of North London derby performances I have seen have been some of the worst performances. Can we perform with some dignity? Can we perform with some pride? Can we play with some cojones? Mr. Igor Tudor, can you give me one game? That's all I ask. Forget week 2, forget week 3. Just one game is all I ask. Please, please. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the insight from those guys as well. And I hope you have a better understanding and kind of a gauge on who Igor Tudor is. That was kind of the purpose of this video. Look, I would love to sit here and talk about like I'm an expert on everything, but sometimes we got to outsource our information and talk to the guys who are really on the ground. So hope you guys have enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. I want to hear your thoughts, what you think could be some positives, what you think could be some potential negatives. Could he be someone for the long term potentially if he does well? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe as well, and turn your notifications on. You know there's going to be plenty more videos coming. I will catch you guys on the next one. Till next time, peeps. Take care.